away, folks, and welcome to this episode of Gray's Trains. My name is Gray, and this is my train. So today we are going to be driving the Victory Works Q6 on the Weardale Teesdale route with a scenario that comes with. And yeah, I've liked this engine ever since I got it. Thomas Dibden of Dark DJ Productions kindly gifted this engine to me this year, shortly after it was launched, and I've barely been able to stop driving it. It's a wonderful engine. It's really good fun to drive. So, what's the scenario? It's number 2 scenario: water, water everywhere. And I'm half tempted to think of that Iron Maiden song, Rhyme of the Ancient Mariner. Water, water everywhere, and not a drop to drink. Right, Tuesday, 15th of May, 1956. Today you are driving Q6 number 63351, shedded at West Auckland, referred to as Tyndale by the locals. She carries a white painted smokebox door dart surround given to all Tyndale locomotives to help the shed recognise their own. Currently waiting in a siding at Barnard Castle. Your first job today is to deliver a churn of drinking water from Barnard Castle station to the remote Coal Road signal box. Wait for the all clear, and then we will collect the brake van from the East Bay siding where the guard has loaded up the churn. Close this window to continue. Okay. Okay. Well, the first thing to say is that this, obviously, the modelling on this engine, like all Victory Works products, is very good, and there's a high range of customizability. But what about the Q6s themselves? The Q6s were built between 1913 and 1921. Oh, okay, that's the all clear. Drive forwards and then reverse into Barnard Castle, East Bay siding, and couple to the brake van. You'll need to request permission to pass the second ground shunt as you reverse up to the road siding. Control tab. Okay, right. So these engines, oh yeah, this engine has a steam brake, and this is why I get so much enjoyment out of this engine. Which one was it? Is it Control B? What's this space? Control B. And there was another whistle where you just got the high pitch. Oh well, so yeah, as I said, these engines were built between 1956, 1913 and 1921. Built to a design by Vincent Raven of the Northeastern Railway, and they remained into service until 1963 to 1967. They were a long-lived class. They mostly worked in the Tyneside region, where they were used on mineral traffic, and they must have been very heavily revered by railwaymen, or very well liked by railwaymen, or even high regarded, because these engines managed to survive until, well, they all survived into British Railways ownership, which is kind of potty when you think about it, because this is an old pre-grouping design that came out before the 1923 Grouping Act. Oh yes, I've just remembered something that's quite nice about this engine. You get tab whistles, so when you're requesting the bar signals of danger, it sends out a little whistle, which is great. I love this engine, I really do. It doesn't impact on the frames too much. It's really satisfying to drive. And that steam brake is sensational. I love the steam brake. Because it's instant. It's an instant acting brake. Which is just fantastic. And this engine also does very little, which I don't like. There's very little I don't like about this engine. At first, I wasn't too convinced on the sounds. I will admit, because that tab whistle, that's just lifted from some of the whistle sounds on the Peppercorn K1, another Victory Works product. Oh, that was a bit of a bump. Guard waves the all clear, we're ready to go. Drive to the signal box and stop at token exchange 1. You will need to request permission to pass the starter signal as you leave Barnard Castle. Okay. So that one. I could theorise why these engines lasted so long. My theory is probably down to the reverser mechanism. It's a steam-operated reverser, so this is an advanced loco where you don't need to use the E key in order to change gear. Which I think is really good. It's an advanced loco which you just drive like a standard engine. The only difference is that instead of going for the for the standard train brake, you're going for the loco brake. Please tell me I haven't sped. Yeah, I've sped a little bit. Not much though. Aha! Oh, bugger. Yeah, I've definitely sped now. But, because we've got steam brake, it's instant. It is an instant acting brake. It instantly applies, it instantly releases, which is very good. But I think the downside of it is that the downside of it is that it's only as efficient as how much pressure you've got inside the boiler. I've just realised I've got a little bit too much reg going on now. This engine doesn't really like too much reg. And it might be a good idea to put some coal on fire. It is a lovely engine. Really lovely, and it was quite a bit of a surprise from Victory Works, because they tend to do more like Western locos, but the fact that they came out with this, oh, it was a welcome surprise. And they're due to come out with a J21 later on, which I'm really looking forward to. I'm looking forward to having a playmate with this engine. A playmate for this engine. And here's the thing, I think that's a really good item for DLC. It's not only something that you just want to drive all the time, but it's also an engine where you almost give it a name just to encourage it. So sort of like the real thing, because in real life, enginemen used to give their engines names and give and usher in little words of encouragement to get them to perform the way they want. For instance, I call the Q6 Gerald. This is Gerald. He is my Q6. Gerald and I have been friends ever since we met, and I've just loved wherever I've gone. I've always gone with Gerald, and I suppose that's the thing. Yeah, lovely engines. Lovely engines. Only one in preservation, unfortunately. Well, fortunately, rather. Though it would be nice if there was another. Which is 63395, which is preserved on the North Yorkshire Moors Railway. Come on, Gerald. So yeah, as I said, all of these engines entered British Railway service, which as I said, is a bit potty, given just the age of the design, and also many more efficient freight engines were built at that time. But these engines just didn't die; they just kept going and going and going, which is remarkable. Oh, that's kind of problematic. When you're in the cab view, and you go to, yeah, okay, the windows just magically appear. So we've just got to stay here, I think. Yep. The guard and the signalman begin unloading the churn of water. Okay. Let me take a sip of my coffee. Lovely. Let's just try and get a little bit more boiler pressure up. Something else that this engine's really good for is oh, hello. I keep getting interrupted by instructions. Rescue! The signalman thanks you for the water, but says he has a problem and needs your help. There is a twinkle in his eye. It seems that one of the new 101 diesel multiple units, the 610 to Barnard Castle, has broken down at the north end of Cole Road. Whoa! He needs you to go and collect it. Pull into Barnard Castle and allow the passengers to alight before putting it out of the way in the yard where it can await a repair crew. Your fireman sniggers. Fat chance they're going to replace steam with them stinking unreliable boxes. Drive forward along Cole Road and couple to the failed 101 at the north approach. You will need to request permission to pass the signal at the end of Cole Road. Press tab. I know. I know! Right. Come on, Gerald. Gerald, to the rescue! Oh, wrong brake. I keep doing that. It's just force of habit. I don't want to burst the cylinders on Gerald. Don't want to burst Gerald's cylinders. I think that's another mark. The fact that once you give an item DLC a name, you just want to make sure it always completes every task flawlessly. Now, people would be thinking that I'm a bit of a Victory Works fanboy for the fact that for the first episode, which is on my timescale, been uploaded for a week now, even though it was filmed many weeks in advance. But people would think that I'm a Victory Works fanboy because in the first episode I feature a Victory Works engine, and in the next episode I'm featuring a Victory Works engine. And it's just because they just make really enjoyable DLC with nice scripting features. And I particularly like this engine for the fact that you've got the steam brake, which is just another area of operational interest, because not all engines came with fitted vacuum brakes. And in fact, there's one scenario that comes with this engine which uses the preserved example 63395. And that engine is on a rail tour with vacuum brakes, but in the scenario I was using the loco brake, I was using a steam brake because it was a better brake, it worked better. Another thing, there is one small problem I do have with this engine, with the sounds, which is the exhaust is a little bit quiet. think that's the signal I've been warned about. Yep, it is. Will I slow down in time for the 15 limit? Have no fear, Gerald is here. And there's the little 101 just up there. At some point I will cover one of the long scenarios, which is a shunting scenario, where you're using a Q6 to organise a freight train, which I've never done a particularly good job of. I mean, I've passed the scenario, but I was quite a bit late. Okay, dokie. Right, run back to Barnard Castle and stop at the platform to allow the passengers to leave and wait for another train. Okie dokie. We're gonna boogie. I do love this engine. It's just so satisfying. And these engines are really handsome as well. Yeah. Oh, I've just remembered what I was saying. Yeah, this engine makes a nice little playmate for the Super D as well. I've also just realised I've not used any of my fire. I sort of choked it up a bit earlier. I haven't used any of it. And also, if you look at my pressure, I've been able to maintain about 164 pounds per square inch, which is just a few pounds off what the blow-off is. But this scenario is a pretty good one, because it not only involves a little passenger run, it also involves a little bit of shunting, and I think at the end as well you're taking the train that you just shunted out of Barnard Castle towards Darlington. Now, first thing I've got to say is thank you guys for your feedback. I've really appreciated the feedback that you guys have given me on episode 1. Episode 1, at the time of recording, has been uploaded for about a week, and even though the views on it aren't as grand as perhaps the larger channels, they are very good for my channel. So thank you very much for watching. And again, thanks for the feedback. I'm appreciating it. I love the feedback. And I've even gained a few subscribers. So thank you very much for subscribing. This is fantastic. I'm really quite pleased that this re-identity of my channel seems to have gone as well as it has. I've even had a couple of requests. Well, I've had one request so far from a member of the Discord gang called James Wright, and he wants me to feature the Barnum coaches, the Matrix Trains Barnum coaches. I might do at some point. I might do a future Jolly Jaunt. I might also make a scenario based on them on this route. But he wants me to have a go with the Barnums, and so much so, he actually bought me them. He gifted me the Barnums, so thank you very much for that, James. But yeah, so that'll be coming up at some point. I'll be featuring a few more other items of coaching stock as well, because I've had a bit of a spending spree in the marketplace buying Matrix trained coaches. So I've got the Mansell coaches in Southern Olive, but also I've got them in British Railways Carmine and Cream, and I've also got the first of the Great Western Hawksworth coaches as well. So I might do something with that. Yeah, thank you guys for your feedback. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you for the likes. Thanks for it all, because it's really rewarding. And a couple of people on my Discord server have even asked, would I start a Patreon? And I think I should make it absolutely clear now. No, I have no intention of starting a Patreon, because it's on the grounds of I don't have anything to reward people with for operating a Patreon, and besides, this is more of a little fun thing on the side than a job. I intend to get working at some point. Control space. That's a little high-pitched whistle. Yeah, as I said, I've got no intention of starting a Patreon because, for one, I have nothing to reward Patreons with. Though that may change in future, but basically at the moment there's not really any call for starting a Patreon because I'm starting up small here. I'm also just doing this for the fun of it, really, because being a furry, there's loads of furries that I know who are into railways, and they're into they're into railways, they're into trains, they're into steam. And I thought, well, hey, I mean, there's not many furry people. There's not many furries who actually aim to more specific markets, more specific people. Ooh. We're going to put the failed 101 in the yard, but we are running a bit low on water, so run back and use the water crane at the end of the platform to fill the tender. Righto, boss. Okay, where was I? Oh yeah, not many people actually go for the specifics. Most furry YouTube channels tend to focus around drama. They go, "Whoa, someone shat in a squirrel this week and it's made the furry fandom look bad." Boo! And I'm not one of those people. This is a retreat. This is somewhere nice and lovely for people of the furry fandom to. Oh, I'm putting water into my coal. Yeah, all right. Just wait until I've got some water in there. Jeez. Well, I'm losing my train of thought. I think you could say that my train of thought has derailed. Yeah, there's too many channels that focus too much on drama. I just want to do a nice little recluse, a nice little place, nice little part of the internet where you can come away from all the drama and all the nastiness and just have fun and see a 23-year-old man dick about playing trains. Because why wouldn't you? Why wouldn't you? This water stop's going to take a little while, so I think I'll talk some more. Yeah, for instance, I'm a fan of To the Ranting Griffin. To the Ranting Griffin is pretty much the only Let's Play I can actually stand. Though there are several times when I'm sat there going, "What the fuck are you doing, you moron?" I'm not a gamer. That's the thing. I'm not a gamer, but the fact that he's making me go, will say, "What are you doing? What are you doing? You're doing it wrong. You're doing it wrong." And I don't know a thing about the game. It's kind of nice in a way because it's kind of involving. But one of my biggest problems is that he's now become super political. He's become really political and getting engaged in all the drama. And as a result, his main YouTube channel is now not hosting any of his Let's Plays anymore. That's been moved to another channel, and his main channel is mostly used for, it's mostly going to be used for rants and bird books and other things like that, talking about drama, talking about political issues and things like that. And I'm just thinking, well, surely people come online to get away from that. Surely people just want to see their favourite YouTuber dick about, swear, and probably even scream. And that's the thing. Now, I decided that, I thought, well, there's not an awful lot about Train Simulator that makes me scream. So, this is just me dicking about, basically. And I dick about very competently. I'm a very competent dicker abouter. Bloody hell, this tender's bigger than I first thought. Oh, there we go. Hey. Right, so where am I going? Barnard Castle up Shunt. Okay, and I think this is just beyond the gantry. Okay. Come on, Gerald. This is something that I must praise Victory Works on, is that in recent years, with recent items of DLC, you get the sense that the physics are now properly sorted. There was a time when my friends and I would use Victory Works products because they were OP. They were overpowered for the engine. But with this engine, you do get the sense that they're a little bit better. Okay, so my generation rate is going to settle back down when the fire settles back down because I've just had the blower on. Okay. And again, I'm in love with this really quite wonderful steam brake. It works so well. Ooh. Thankfully that hasn't resulted in a spat, so that's good. Yeah, love this engine. It's so much fun, and it's very good for shunting as well. The steam brake just makes everything so much easier. Even though this is an advanced model, it's got advanced physics on it. Run forwards and stop at Barnard Castle free. Sure thing, boss. Right. Oh, check. Yep. That's sending me into the right place. Okie dokie. Haven't really focused on the cab too much this episode. Normally, I'm always flipping between into the cab. So here is the cab, and down round about here somewhere is the reverser. It's literally just a tiny, little insignificant lever, really small. So where is it? I'm just trying to find it. I think it's just a little bit too dark to see properly. Another thing I've got to praise, I've got to praise this route as well, actually, the Weardale Teesdale route. Now, this was a route that came out in 2015. And I remember when I heard it was coming out, I thought, fantastic. Now, this route isn't the longest route in the world, but if we look at the map for a second, look at what you get. This is a fantastic route. In terms of value for money, it is brilliant. It's a really stunning route. Great scenery. It's got very good scenery. It doesn't tank your frames, so it's very nicely optimised. Okay, so it's just a stop instruction. We wait until we get the give and go ahead to uncouple. So in the meantime, so we're just waiting. Uncouple the failed 101. Goodbye, failed 101. Come on, Gerald. Now that's done, there are some wagons here at Barnard Castle that need moving to Darlington. We'll begin reversing back to the upshunt. Okay. This is something else that I like as well about Victory Works products is cylinder cock steam. They actually try to simulate it going from every one of the cocks. You just watch the side here. There's not many who put that attention to detail into their models. There really aren't. They have been upgrading the particle effects through the years, and they've now got very good particle effects on them at the cost of frames. Which is a bit of a shame, perhaps. It is a bit of a shame. But all in all, I do still love these their products, because the chap in charge of Victory Works, he loves freight engines. That's where his interest lies. So I knew that when he was doing the Q6, he'd be putting a little bit, he'd be putting a load of effort into it to make sure that everything was right. And credit where credit's due. Credit where credit's due. He proved me right. He put every I swear to God, this loco is sensational to drive. It's really good fun. And another thing about Victory Works, because they love their freight engines, they do loads of good stock to come with locos. Like, for example, the large Prairie, that comes with a large selection of ex-Great Western and British Railways stuff. Run forwards to Barnard Castle 5, uncouple the brake fan. You will need to request permission to enter the yard. Okay. Right, well, not there, obviously. So, where is 5? Oh, it's already set the points for me. That's very kind of them. Okie dokie, biggie boogie. Away we go. I'm using the cocks a lot because, this being an advanced simulation model, it is possible to blow one of the cylinders. Another thing that's very possible with this engine is wheel slip, which actually for a while I was sort of thinking, well, does this engine actually have wheel slip functionality? It does. It does. I found this out once trying to haul 30 wagons over the Woodhead. And I would demonstrate the wheel slip for you now, but that would result in losing points in my score. I don't really want to do that. Though granted, I've already lost some points. Oh. Is it the shunting signal? Because I just realised I was supposed to request signal, request thingy. I haven't needed it. So yeah, we're just coming up to some wagons that actually come with the Q6. In fact, this brake van also comes with the Q6, and it's the Weardale one, but it has some updated sounds on it. Okay, so uncouple. Ooh. The modelling isn't the best on this brake van, I will admit, but it's still a pretty nice brake van. Run forwards and then back into Barnard Castle 6 and cover to the sheeted grey wagons there. You may change the manual points as required to collect the wagons. Okay. And this is the thing, so far in the scenario, I haven't needed to use the injectors. I haven't needed to put any steam in, which is a shocker. Okay, there we go. I think another thing I do like about this engine as well is it's just a side motion. And the fact it's an 080. I do like an 080. It's a very nice wheel arrangement. It's a very handsome wheel arrangement. And it is the mark of the early goods engine. That's the thing. Loads of early goods engines were 080 configuration. This includes the Caledonian 600 class, which Chris Wilson, a Victorian lad, has actually conjured up for Train Sim as well. And it came out ridiculously short time after the the 812. I've now got the 812 now, so I'll do something on that. But I'm not too sure about the 600. Not too sure just yet because I've got the Super D, I've got the Q6. I think I've got a nice selection of 080s at the moment. So yeah, I was talking about stock. These wagons here, the ones we're about to couple up to, and these ones in the other road, they both come with the Q6. And there's other other wagons as well. You get wooden-bodied hoppers. You get dry ice containers. A new version of Conflat. And it's all really, really good. Oh, that was perfect. That was perfect. I'm really happy with that. Okay, so here we go. Look at that. That's a perfect pull away. And of course these wagons sound like wagons, which is always a nice thing. Particularly if you like wagons. I like wagons. I like it when they sound like wagons. One thing I would criticise Victory Works for is that when they started doing payware, a lot of their stock didn't actually come with custom sounds. It was just the Kuju sounds, which were terrible. Now, on the other hand, they're doing DLC, which all has custom sounds, including these wagons, and yeah, we're getting lags. We're getting lag because of the particles. Stop! Stop, engine, stop! I've got to run a red. Oh good, there's no reds to run. Right. Okey-dokey. Right. Reverse thrust and back we go. But this is a really nice scenario and it's actually quite a quick one. I'm just taking my time with it because as far as I'm aware there is no time delays. Just going to have the blower on just to try and bring up our pressure. Yeah, let's jack it up all the way. All the way. Right, brakes, 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 brakes. Okay, and brakes again. Nice little bump. Okay, reverse the Weardale Teesdale 5 and couple off the brake valve. Yeah, I do like having wagons like this. These are really nice wagons. I mean, this is it's an area that really does get neglected sometimes, is goods wagons. So it's always, I find it's always a joy to have a new goods wagon, or new type of goods wagon in game to play with. Okay, so brake, brake. But here we're actually seeing that this engine is actually a joy to shunt, because you've got a really nice reverser, you've got an instant acting brake, and it's all round satisfying. It's a really satisfying engine to drive, this one. And if you look, I haven't had to put any water in the boiler so far. I've still got more than half a glass, according to the F5 HUD. So let's slow her down. Okay, and so just crawling in, and good dunk. And to Broomy Lawn, hopefully we'll have a clear run to Darlington. Oh yes, look at that. We have got a time to get there for, but we're being nice and punctual. This is brilliant. Yeah, there's occasionally little bangs from the trucks as you're going along, which I think just adds to it, really. So in this scenario, it's what's it? I think it's supposed to be a 40-minute scenario. What you're doing is you take a brake van onto a signal box, you then couple to a failed unit, you bring it down, let passengers disembark, put some water in your tender. Then you do a little bit of shunting, and now we're on a slow goods run up to Broomy. Granted, it's less than 2 miles, but still. This is kind of what I mean about the sounds, but saying that though, I have got low reg and quite a low cut-off, so we're not going to get an awful lot of exhaust noise. Saying that though, we've just gone into a 45 limit, so I can open up the taps a little bit. God, I love this engine. It is so nice to drive, so nice. And you know what? I'm going to put the injectors on. These are the ones where you actually have to trim them. The Victory Works, they've actually managed to make it so they're not so much of a faff to operate. Okay, so I'm going to be a little bit late. I'm going to be 1.5 minutes late, but I don't think that's bad at all. In regards to the physics, yeah, I'm using the exhaust injector, but yeah, I'm using the exhaust injector, but it is taking a lot of steam out, and we're actually coming up to a stop now. But they've actually simulated the exhaust injectors, I think. Oh, they haven't on this. I know they have on the Q1 anyway. K1 rather. There! Right. Right, sorry. I need to start slowing down. That's just a distance signal up ahead. That's warning me that there is a signal of danger. But I've got the best brakes in the west. Or the east, rather. I don't know. East, west, potato, potato, tomato, tomato. Either. Yes, I've been watching excerpts from old 1950s films. Don't judge me. Anything you could do, I could do better. I can do anything. You can't, I can. You can't, I can. No, you can't. Yes, I can. No, you can't. Yes, I can. Okay, so there's our signal. So we got a brake for that. Now, even though I haven't been able to get this engine to blow off at all during this scenario, I think one thing I'll take from it is that that's probably how my steam's managed to last so long, because there was less of it being jetted out of the thing. Okay. Right guys, that is it for this episode of Grey's Trains. Thanks for watching, and I shall see you next time with another exciting instalment. Toodly Pipski!